Hello, thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be reacting to a real estate mindset video. So let's get right into the video. We're going to start with foreclosure rates. And is the market doomed? Are we set for gloom? I don't know. Looking a lot like 2008 again.
Is how important it is to watch the recent delinquencies, or rather the delinquencies on mortgages that are 6 months originated. Now, I want you to explain to the viewers what impact that has on the industry as well as homeowners. But first, I wanted to explain to the viewers that the delinquency rates of mortgages originated within 6 months are all elevated. The trajectory is going up, and they are at roughly about 2010 levels, and that includes conventional, FHA, and VA. And so we have the recent originations, again, the delinquency exploding, and that tells a story of what's going on with the homeowners today. And so, Melody, if I want you to explain to the
You see how much this looks alike? This is a scary graph to look at, and a lot of people are in denial about it. Now might not be the best time to buy with the highest cost to live ever. It is actually better to rent, I believe, and save your money so then one day you can be a homeowner. But not right now. Don't do it now. I mean, unless you are fully prepared. There are some people who are fully prepared and know what they're doing. But if you aren't fully prepared and don't know what you're doing, you just want a home, it's not the time. It's not the
viewers what impact that has on the industry as well as homeowners. But first, I wanted to explain to the viewers that the delinquency rates of mortgages originated within 6 months are all elevated. The trajectory is going up, and they are at roughly about 2010 levels, and that includes conventional, FHA, and VA. And so we have the recent originations, again, the delinquency exploding, and that tells a story of what's going on with the homeowners today. And so, Melody, if you can, again, explain to the viewers what that does to the homeowners, but also please, since you are behind the scenes, you understand how this stuff works, explain what that type of delinquency does to the originating banks of those loans.
Right. Or non-bank, right? So
Yeah.
absolutely. So what happens when you get a delinquency like that in the first 6 months? That's called an early payment default. And typically, depending on your arrangement, if you are selling this out into the capital markets, to the Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, for securitization, essentially that is where that comes into play, and they can turn around to you because let's be clear. So something I talk about a lot, about 85% of all mortgages right now are held by the U.S. government. And so you have to, if you are an originator, and you are typically you are selling those loans off to the GSEs or the agencies because you don't want to hold those on your balance sheet. A reason for that is that there is those get risk weighted, and meaning that like mortgage servicing right. And sorry, let me back up for a second. I'm just going to quickly explain, Travis, how this works so everybody has context. Yeah. So essentially, I'm an originator. We know that the banks used to do most of the origination, but after the GFC, that really moved off to the non-banks. And the reason that was, so non-banks do about 70% of origination. The reason that was because of Basel III and the capital requirements that were put on holding mortgage assets because they were deemed more risky. And so after that, essentially banks were told, hey, if you have a government loan, you're going to have to risk weight that 50% against your capital ratio. And that's, so all the banks have a certain ratio they have to meet for capital requirements by the Fed already. You may have heard out there in the news, they want to increase that. But what happened when that was first instituted is the banks stepped back from lending and the non-banks really took over market share. And the non-banks, they don't have deposits. And so the banks often can lend against your deposits, but the non-banks don't. And so they have to go to the banks and get these huge warehouse lines or liquidity facilities to lend out. And so they are in a game all the time of needing to originate more, originate more, originate more. But the way they can originate is they immediately turn around and sell it out to the capital markets or the secondary markets where the government is the biggest buyer of that loan. Now, you might decide to retain something called a mortgage servicing right, and that's simply the right to take.
Okay, thank you, Melody. You are awesome. You're always providing great information. This channel is great for information. I'm not going to watch the whole video, but what they are saying is 100% true. She's breaking it down fantastically. And the thing is, they constantly have to be originating these loans. It causes, capitalism, right? You're not making money if you're not originating these loans. And then the government buys them. They love buying debt. They love debt. They want everyone to be in debt. That's why I feel like they've been making the housing market more inflated, because what the FHA does is they guarantee loans. So whenever the government buys a loan or gets an FHA loan, they are guaranteeing that it will be paid, and if it's not, the government will pay for it, which is pretty crazy. But why does the government like to buy debt? Oh, interest rates. The government takes all that interest rate money and they're collecting. It's basically another tax. They just get the banks to originate it, and then they collect all the taxes they want, right? That's the same reason why going to college is so ridiculously priced. They're just trying to get you to basically pay another tax for the rest of your life that you'll never be able to pay off because the interest rates are simply too high.
Payments every month for a little fee. So in this very hyper financialized game, that little penny on the dollar means something to these non-banks. But so what happens when you start getting these early delinquencies, these are just like a liquidity drain on the non-banks because they can't turn to deposits. They are going to that facility. And the way that you can use that facility is you have to pledge assets. So essentially, let's say you have a whole bunch of these early payment defaults or what you're showing on the screen, Travis, where it's an increase. All those assets you have to take off your facility. I mean, you're going to have to buy them back and replace them with different assets, higher performing assets, or they're going to sit on that facility and drain your or kind of remove your ability to lend out more. And so this just becomes a huge liquidity suck to these primarily the non-banks who will be the most in trouble around this.
Okay,
But I'll
yeah.
stop there and then I'll move on to how it impacts the homeowner. But in case you had some
Millie,
questions.
Yeah. I loved what
Sorry.
you were saying. I mean, no, I was following everything you were saying. I was like, yes, thank God. Like, I love having a colleague that can break this down properly. Essentially, what she's saying, guys, is, all of these, not all, a lot of these mortgage lenders, they have their own warehouse. They have their own credit line, like a credit card per se. It's not a credit card. It's way more favorable in certain ways, in other ways not. But they have this credit line. And you guys, basically, they lend money, they originate, and then they sell that loan to, as an example, Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, and then they get that liquidity back. But what's happening right now, you guys, is as a result of the delinquencies, the early stage delinquencies, and again, that's skyrocketing up to 2010 levels, that is putting an amazing burden on these banks because not only, like she was saying, that if it's in delinquency, it's locked up. They can no longer sell it in the secondary market. So that share of their warehouse line of credit is locked up. But if they don't want it locked up, they also have to pay all of the origination fees and the profit back. Now, I ran personally 3 branches for AMCAP Home Loans. So I ran 3 branches. If I got just one loan that had an early stage delinquency, it would cost on just one loan, it would cost my branch 20 to 25, depending on the loan amount, of course, but $20 to $25,000 for just one loan. And so when we see this like spiraling out of control, Melody, I really want to paint a picture to the viewers on how much that hurts the financial institutions. It will cause a lot more pressure on them. We haven't seen credit tightening yet, which is crazy to me. I'll argue we've seen credit loosening, but it's a huge issue for these non-banks, and you ain't getting that run up in equity. And we see real big problems when it comes to new builds as well. And that shock, that we call it payment shock. So when the property taxes finally update on a new build, a lot of these new home buyers are getting destroyed. Not only because they find out the property taxes are a lot more because they were paying property taxes on dirt, not the dwelling, it's a new build. Not only is that like a $7,000 tax bill to Melody, but their payment goes up $600 to make up for that. So it's like, surprise, instead of you getting a refund, like on your income taxes, you have to use that refund now to pay towards your mortgage. Oh, and then guess what? It's another $600 as well a month. And that type of payment shock is leading to foreclosure. There's literally no meat on the bone.
That's
Asset
right.
prices are oversaturated from any historical outlook. You can talk about payments or prices. I went back to the GFC and I really wanted to dig into foreclosure data because there's a lot of rumors that said 3 million foreclosures hit the market as listings. And I noticed, especially from Zillow, they started the GFC with extremely misleading foreclosure information. And it was shocking to me. Like some people like 5 million, 6 million. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like it was a 5, so there was a lot of data that was wrong back in the day. And even today, what I'm noticing is, and I'll show the viewers, for example, like Black Knight, which is right here.
Okay, this is pretty crazy, but they constantly lie to us about data. So that's why you have to search around, no matter what kind of data you're looking for, scientific, political, always search around for the data, okay? And this is exactly why. But first, you know what we're going to do? We are going to like the video. I'm already subscribed. And then also, if you would like and subscribe for this video, that would be awesome. Let's get it out there. Let's help him get his channel out there. Let's help me get this information out there too, because we are both on the same team. We want people to be successful and own their first home and not go through foreclosure.
Shows delinquency rate, for example, of 3.2. Then we go to HUD right here, the Housing Urban Development right here, and the delinquency rate is more like 4%. That's a huge difference. And then we go to ATTOM, and they're saying, foreclosure activity is increasing in Q1 of 2024. And I guess it's all bringing me back to this, Melody. There is a huge lack of data transparency, even beyond foreclosures. Where would you recommend that the viewers, despite what their goal is of purchasing a house, where can people go to get the transparency on what's really going on behind the scenes? Is it HUD? To me, HUD has a huge report. Where do they go, Melody?
They have to come to your channel or my Substack or my channel, Travis, because every single one of these reporting entities has their perspective and also their vested interest. And so,
like they said, the only places to get this information is right from them, because they're the only ones looking this deep into it. They're the only ones I can find that care this much to give us this great information. Thank you so much, Real Estate Mindset. Okay? They can help all of us achieve our dreams. And if you're in Texas, go to him. If you're in Colorado, I would love to help you on your home buying journey. We can even start today and set up a savings plan for you so then you can reach your goals and get a home that you can live in forever, or even a duplex where you can live in one side and try and rent out the other, because that's a strategy. You can totally do that. It's not a bad strategy, especially for first-time home buyers. It's a pretty good one if you can figure out how to do it right. And if you talk to me or if you talk to him, we will help you figure out right. He's in Texas, I'm in Colorado. And well, I hope you have a great day. I hope this was educational for you. Go check them out. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Goodbye.